Hey everyone, I'm Fred Franklin, your state chair for Nebraska USA Wrestling, and I just come to you tonight to let you know that I'm very interested in continuing to serve in the same capacity that I have been, and each of you have been sent out a bio of each candidate and obviously mine, and take a good look at that and read through it and see what the things are that I've done with this organization and how I've tried to lead us into a better Nebraska wrestling community. And I would just like you to consider those things as we move forward into the election on Friday. This year we broke every record imaginable for Nebraska USA Wrestling. From our state folk style tournament to freestyle Greco to Heartland, the Freako Elementary National Duels, membership, we broke them all. And actually, broken records is not even the right word. We shattered records. And I know most of you know that these things don't just happen automatically. It's not like a light switch we just flip on and all of a sudden everything is successful. It doesn't happen that way. And those out there that run tournaments, you know what I'm talking about. It takes leadership and consistency and planning. And we plan to make our events the best they can be every year. And when we get done with an event, we come together, we analyze, and we plan for growth the next year. The year that I took over in 2018, we had 1,400 kids at our folk style state tournament. Last year we had 2,900 kids at our folk style state tournament. And you know what? We're still getting everyone out by about 6:30 in the evening. And how do we do that? It's because we plan a whole year in advance. We make sure that we change things up, do call the mat system, add a few more mats, go into the expo hall. Everything that we do is to make sure that the experience that you get the next year is better than the one you had the year before. There's been some people out there that have talked about that it's time to make a change. I ask you, what do you want to change to? Do you want to change that we're the number 2 state in the country in membership per capita? Do you want to change that we smashed every record that you can ever think of just last year, and we've been smashing them every year ever since I became the state chair? Because, friends, quite frankly, I've been the leader of change. I mean, I've added Heartland 17 years ago. That was change. The Freako Elementary National Duels just 3 years ago. District Duels just 2 years ago. And adding a full-time media person, that was me. I pushed that to the board because I knew that the coaches and the wrestlers and parents, that you deserved great media coverage through Nebraska USA Wrestling. I started the Tour of Nebraska about 12 years ago. 5 years ago, I started the annual Charter Club convention with the Circle of Honor and the awards banquet. Prior to that, we never had anything for these kids. We had awards, we handed them out at the beginning of a tournament, but they didn't get all the recognition that I felt like they should receive. So I created this, and the board approved it. And I've run these things for the last 5 years. And this year we had 190 people show up at that awards banquet, and it was spectacular. I started the Virginia Beach National Duels trip for Nebraska for our high school students because I wanted them to have a great little trip that they could use our state tournament and say, hey, I qualified to go on this nice trip. And we've been doing that successfully for 3 years now. I spearheaded purchasing wrestling mats, track wrestling score clocks, semi-trailer, and now Pin TV score clocks. See, these are real change that we added to our tournament to make our tournament look and feel like a bigger and bigger great event. And our goal has always been to have a tournament that kind of mimics the high school state tournament for these young kids so that they can be experiencing big time wrestling situations and having all those feelings of being under the lights and in an arena, because when they get to high school, that's what they're going to wrestle under when it counts for them to wrestle for a state championship. Friends, I love what wrestling has done for me in my life, and I love it so much that I have this drive to make sure that every athlete, every wrestler gets those same qualities out of wrestling so that they can be a successful person. They can have success in their career, a success as being a father or a mother, success raising their own children. That's what I want for our wrestling people. I want them to be great people first. And you know what? If we win some championships along the way, that's a bonus. But my biggest goal is to make sure that our wrestlers are ready for life. And for the wrestlers out there that we have that want a different path or a higher goal, we have opportunities for them. We have these great big national events that we've created to test their skills and push them to the limits. And we have great clubs out there. We have clubs that wrestle all year round. We have some that just do folk style. It's okay because we have great coaches all throughout the state. Great clubs. And that's where these kids are going to get most of their day-to-day training. And Nebraska USA Wrestling is going to give you the events to test yourselves to the limit. And for the clubs out there that want to do year-round training, you want to do some freestyle and Greco, but you're just not sure where to start, we can help you with that. Give us a call. Give Rob Sanders a call. Give me a call. We will help you. We can send people out to give you training that you're going to need to be able to keep your club open after folk style. We've been pushing for several years for clubs to stay open and continue doing off-season training, whether it's folk style, freestyle, or Greco. This year, we had more clubs stay open ever in the history of the state of Nebraska. And you know what? After folk style season was over with, we put out a form and we promoted every club that said that they were still open. You know why we did that? It's because we wanted everyone to know where maybe my folk style club that I'm at, maybe they're done for the season, but where else can I go? We created a map and contact information all over the state. And it was amazing to see all the clubs that were open in the availability for kids to train. You know, just a few years ago, if you would have tried to find training outside of west of Lincoln after folk style season, it was virtually impossible. You could drive from like Seward and keep going west, and you would not find clubs that were open. And if they were open, they were like a high school faction where the coaches were doing something with their high school kids and maybe some, coming in and having some training in the room, once a week or something like that. Not a real training club that's like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, and we're still going. We didn't have that 3 years ago. But this year we had clubs like Seward. We had Kearney Macats. We had Too Tough Jim. We had Ted Nikolajczyk and his club in Greeley. We had 308. We had the club up in Shadron that Brett Hunter's running. We had clubs that were mentioned all over the state. Do we need more? Yes, we need more. But we can't, it's not going to happen overnight. Okay? We added a whole bunch of clubs that said that they were working hard to continue giving kids opportunities to train if they want to train full time. So what I'm trying to say is that we care about all the kids. 100%, not 2%, not 98%, 100% of the kids. And whatever needs are out there, we're going to be there to help you. In the end, I would like your support so that I can continue being the leader of Nebraska USA Wrestling. Mainly because I love it. I love doing what I do. And I have time. I have time because I've worked really hard in my life to be where I'm at right now. With my company and my great employees that help give me that kind of time to be able to maybe spend all day long during a normal work day, and I'd spend all day long working on Nebraska USA Wrestling stuff or coming up with ideas and do planning and calling hotels and venues and going to meetings, and I do those things on my company time. I don't just do them in the evening. There's no way you can run this organization just running in the evening and on the weekends. It's not going to work. It's not a 2-person job. It's not a 3-person job. It's a whole group of directors and volunteers working together to make this organization great. But all those people, they have full-time jobs of their own. They have a family that they're trying to raise. And those people don't always have a lot of the extra time that people like I do because of where I'm at in my life. And then we have full-time people like Rob Sanders and Alex Cloyd to work with me so that we can get through all the little logistics and then go back and report to the others that, hey, here's what we've come up with. We're going to divvy out a little bit of responsibility. Now let's go knock it out of the park. You know, it's kind of funny. In 2018, when I was inducted into the Nebraska Scholastic Wrestling Coaches Association, I stood up there and I had to give a speech, and Alan Picorni was inducted the same year, so him and we're great buddies, and I would love that we were inducted the same time together. And of course, everyone already knew in the audience, what Alan had done and what I had done. I mean, it's why we were being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and I kind of had a little smile on my face, and I looked over at Alan, and I looked out in the audience, and I said, "But you ain't seen nothing yet." So tonight, I'm going to tell you the same thing. You stick with me. You allow me to continue being your leader of this great organization. And I promise you that you ain't seen nothing yet. I want to thank every one of you for listening to my message tonight. I hope that I've shown you, a little bit about myself, my desire, and for some of you that maybe I've actually never met before. If you're a new club leader, it gives you a little more insight of who I am and what my goals are and what goals I want for this organization. I appreciate every one of you. I appreciate all the coaches, all the parents, and the wrestlers. And I hope to see you on the mat soon.